to whoever is watching this, if you're not brave right now, do it just once. Just make it a goal to talk to one person today.
For me, I don't want people in Ottawa deciding my future.
I'm from Quebec City originally,
Quebec.
all right? And I came here because I have a mentality that espouses that of Albertans more than Quebecers. I consider myself an Albertan, not a Quebecer. $13.4 billion overseas for gender equality and climate change, while in the same breath, they're running a $36.3 billion deficit, so we've put it all on the credit card. And then we have the audacity to say, oh, sorry, we don't have enough money for the veterans. We are different cultures. We have different values, open to risk-taking and taking responsibility for ourselves in Alberta. That's the mentality here.
Canada's too big and we're not united. And Quebec and Alberta are just the biggest examples, but you think about it, really, there should be about 5 or 6 separate little countries here.
Another saying from Ralph Klein was, shoot, shovel, and shut up.
He did say that. I love Ralph Klein. Get jobs, you lazy bastards.
I'm looking forward to the day that we actually send foreign aid to parts of Canada.
Well, we kind of do right now, but I know what you mean.
But when we send it, as Albertans, we'll be able to attach some strings to it.
Canada's too big to be effectively governed. There's too many people pulling different directions. There's one group that always gets the majority just because of their numbers. And they have values and a culture that's unique of their own, and they just want to project that onto us. We're different than them. They don't think so. But who cares? We're going to self-determine. How many scandals? How many times they break the laws?
It was like 86 or something like that. That was a huge number. And he remained in power. And now they're shutting down committees that are looking into corruption or conflict of interest between...
And like CISA says, the Chinese are rigging our elections, right? And like, how many more of these things do we just want to put up with? Canadians, you vote for a Forever Canada. That's what you're voting to support. Here in Alberta, we want to get rid of the corruption. We're going to have checks and balances and like consequences for politicians. I feel like many of the Conservatives would agree with what we're saying. Accountability, put these corrupt politicians in jail, right? All these things that we're mentioning, but they're not quite willing to take the next little step to say, okay, fine, we'll throw the old system off and create our new system. So how do we reach to them? Like, how do we get them to take that step? Because it seems obvious, but they're not doing it. He's actually the lawyer for Forever Canada.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He said to me later on the live stream, because I'll live stream on record, it's obviously a lie. They're fundraising, they're saying to vote a certain way on a referendum question, and these guys have probably raised a lot of money outside of Alberta, and they're not tracking it, and it's breaking all the rules. Well, but that's why we need independence even more. Hey guys, I'm John. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here at the Ranchman's breakfast. Stampede breakfast for Alberta independence, and I'm here to talk to some people and see what they have to say about independence. And we're also live streaming on YouTube right now. Oh, and he wanted to say hi. How's it going?
Good, you?
Good.
Pleasure to meet you, John.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Thanks for everything you've been doing throughout this campaign, and
oh man,
you're I think I called for a statue of you in Alberta. I know you don't want it, but you don't have a choice.
As long as it's like kind of like a dumb thing, it's got to have the camera. I gotta be like.
No, I gotta tell you, dude. Like that video where the rain was horizontal, coming at you. You're flagging the wind. That was a moment of like, this is the people that are grinding. Like the passion is there. Like the patriotism.
And you know what? First of all, I want to say 2 things about that. So there were some old ladies out in the rain there, like true Albertan patriots. For me, I was like, okay, but to see them do that. But then also, I was not going to do it. My wife, Allie, right here, I couldn't do this without her. She was like, John, get your camera out, go out, stand in that rain. You see my microphone, right?
Yep.
Like, I was worried it was going to get wrecked. She's like, go do it anyway. We'll buy a new one.
Hell yeah. I
like
love
true
that.
Albertan spirit there.
Well, yeah, that's amazing. And you know what? Behind every great man,
well, I'd say beside and in front and all around and everywhere.
Yeah.
Because she supports me so much.
But that's what I meant is I feel like, you said you're giving credits to everybody, but I feel like everybody that you're referring to, they are all John the Patriot. And John the Patriot is every canvasser.
Patriot.
You are the figure for it.
Yeah.
And so it would not happen without everybody on the ground here. You know, there's some figureheads, but it's the people on the ground that have given their time weekend after week after week, day after day, during the winter, the terrible weather.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be possible without you guys.
Well, you know, I don't like to accept praise like that, but
Just take your power and shut up.
I take it. I take it with humility, but like my goal is to inspire other people to do this.
Yes.
Anyone can do this. It's not this special about talking. It takes a bit of a guts to have a camera, but like we need to get out and talk to people. And you know, coming to events like this is good for motivation, good to kind of network and learn.
Absolutely.
But we need to be talking to people. I was riding my bike the other day, or yesterday, in where were we? Did I Estábamos? Spruce Grove.
Okay.
Oh no, St. Albert. We were in St. Albert. And I rolled up and I had the flags on my car, and a guy just pulled up on a bicycle and he's like, "Hey, I like your car. I like all the flags." I'm like, "You want a lawn sign?" And I just handed it out to him.
There you go.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
And it's like there's a lot of people who want to do this, and we just got to start networking, talking, get out of the comfort zone.
And you know what? If one person putting themselves out there, because there's a lot of people who are worried right now about speaking up and having these discussions with their friends, right?
Yeah.
And because they don't want to be branded as traitors, they don't want to be branded as, you know, sort of rabble rousers, right? Like people don't want to sort of shake the earnestness, but we got to be brave. And the more if you're brave, then you're going to inspire somebody else to be brave.
Yeah.
And to whoever is watching this, if you're not brave right now, do it just once. Just make it a goal to talk to one person today. Whoever it is, the cashier at the grocery store. The other day I was walking around and some guys made some random sort of comment, and I was just like doing my steps for the day.
Yeah.
And then and then I was like, you know what? I gotta stop. I gotta go back, and I gotta ask these guys what they think about Alberta independence. And I was in enemy territory. I'm in Bridgeland, which is the only Liberal MP in Calgary, Corey Hogan, which I'm sure you know, right?
Yeah.
It's a very progressive area, but yet, you know, people were open to having the conversation. So. Great. Like everybody should go out there and try to have that conversation, just like you do.
And it takes no courage to hang a Canadian flag right now. It honestly doesn't. This is still Canada.
Yeah.
You know, okay, that's the norm. You don't have to have an excuse. Just hang it up. It's like, okay, that's whatever. Yeah. But it takes a lot of courage to stand up for independence and to show it to your friends.
Absolutely.
And they're trying to scare us. They want us to feel defeated. But there's so much support. Like, I honestly believe that we are a majority, and I think the reason why they're cheating right now with that Forever Canada thing, they're saying we're not campaigning, so therefore we don't have to declare our expenses. Yeah. It's like they're cheating because they're desperate. If they were doing it right, then they wouldn't have to cheat like that. But
I don't know. I don't know if you saw the video yesterday. I think Jack posted it of Carney walking into the Calgary Stampede Rodeo and the crowd booing him, being drowned by boos. And so and that'll beat any poll that you see out there. Yeah. Right? Because the crowd is very diverse in at the rodeo. So I think it's I think we have much more momentum, and you can tell by the way they are panicking publicly right now. Right? And somebody came out with a fantastic term. If you've heard of pork barrel politics before, what pork barrel politics is basically what the Liberals have been doing, where it's like, hey, if you elect a Liberal, we're going to spend money in your riding, right? Yeah. But so they came up with pork barrel pipelines. Right now, we're getting pork barrel pipelines, which is, just optics. Yeah. So,
you know what? Honestly, you can give me 1,000 pipelines. I want freedom.
It doesn't matter.
I want freedom.
Take zero. It doesn't matter. Anybody that brings up like, "Oh, you think pipelines are going to happen if we're an independent?" It doesn't matter. I don't. It actually doesn't matter. It changes nothing.
No. For me, I don't want people in Ottawa deciding my future. I think people right here in Alberta, we should be deciding our future. We have common goals and values, and the decisions that we make are going to affect us and our kids and our grandkids.
We want our vote to count.
Yeah, we want our vote to count.
Yeah.
Right. You know. It's a vote to count, but here's the thing. People say, hey, Alberta doesn't have a culture or whatever. Yeah. I'm not an Albertan by birth. Yeah. I moved here in 2005. Yeah. I'm from Quebec City originally.
Quebec.
All right? And I came here because I have a mentality that espouses that of Albertans more than Quebecers. I consider myself an Albertan, not a Quebecer. Yeah. And it's simply people that want to come here and be responsible for themselves, have less taxes, want to be in charge of their own lives, and they're willing to accept less safety and willing to take more risk for more opportunity at prosperity for themselves and their children. I got 2 kids. Their future is bleak within Canada. Looking at the trajectory of what's happening in Canada right now, you know, like there's a risk to independence, but make no mistake, the risk of staying in Canada is 10 times worse. It's 10 times worse. So,
you know, and it's interesting. I've been thinking about what it means to be Albertan. And it's not an ethnicity, it's not a race, it's not a language, but there is a mindset. And you described it, you're like, the government off my back, low taxes, work hard, save my money, get ahead in life, just be free. And for some reason, this land attracts people like that from all over. Like my wife is from Venezuela. I think she's got the same Albertan mindset as like someone from Quebec, and Filipinos and Ukrainians. There's a mentality of people who come here. And that's what Albertan is. We're made of people like that.
Is that why you know Spanish?
Sí, eso razón por hablar español.
Because I watched the I can't do hola como estás. That's the only part I know.
It's similar to French.
It is. I found it a little more difficult to learn, and then so I learned Italian.
Yeah.
And Italian I found quite similar to French.
Yeah.
Struggling more with Spanish. I tried Spanish and I stopped about halfway through. And
I can understand Italian, but I can't speak it.
Yeah.
And like French, I can. It's kind of like it's a different accent, but a lot of the words are the same.
Yeah.
But a lot of words are different.
The word roots are very similar. Right?
It's like Latin. Yeah.
Right on.
But hey, you know what? That's interesting. You came from Quebec.
I
Quebec
sure
City.
did, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, a lot of people in Alberta, they're like, oh, we hate the Quebecers, right? But I don't think that's it. What do you say?
So let me tell you this, as a Quebecer, and people are, and it's easy to sort of point fingers and say, oh, Quebecers are this and they're that. The people in Quebec, like the stuff that we care about, like they are in their microcosm out there. Okay? They speak French. The news are not even the same news that you get in, on CBC or whatever.
Yeah.
And simply, like talking about a pipeline is not a thing out there.
No.
That's not something that they think about. It's not something that concerns Quebecers.
Yeah.
And so there is no animosity from Quebecers towards Albertans. And the only thing that you really see is the politicians creating problems. And my first experience, like I moved to Calgary in 2017. I was in Grand Prairie for 10 years, worked the rigs, and I did the whole thing. And then I came down and I'm working in business downtown now.
Yeah.
And in 2018, when François Legault said there is no social acceptability for a pipeline, you remember that, right?
I remember that.
That's the thing that sort of triggered everything. So now everybody's been fixated on pipelines, but it's the pipeline problem is just a symptom, right?
Okay.
But so what I said back then is, hey, Quebecers actually don't know about any of this, right? And the politicians who have interest in so, we talk about the Laurentian elite, right? And I don't like using that word because it sounds conspiratorial, like there's a cabal and whatever. But there is some truth to it.
I think there might be a cabal out there.
But there is. The problem is this, is that because bringing that stuff up to somebody that's sort of moderate in the middle, it seems far-fetched, right? Because like right now you look at what's happening in Parliament, for instance, with the laws that they're passing.
Yeah.
And
sounds conspiratorial.
And you try to bring that up to somebody and you're like, there's no way that this is happening in Canada. Yeah. It couldn't.
Yeah.
Right?
If you just throw it in their face, you're like, hey, communism's coming. Then they're like, no, get out of here. So you got to kind of work them in a little bit.
Because people have been desensitized. So to get back to what I was saying, so I had an interview. I was at the City Hall when there was the protest against, like the Quebec saying whatever. The premier of Quebec saying that no social acceptability for a pipeline. And then what I said to the interviewer back then is, guess what? I bet you that Quebecers support getting their oil from the West. They actually just don't know about it. It's just not in the discussion. And I got the same guy from CBC, Jay Turnbull. 6 hours after he published the interview with me, he sent me a poll that came out that said that 78% of Quebecers are in support of getting their oil from the West. And this is what's interesting is we still have that sort of, not misconception here, but the ratio has changed since 2018, and there's been some progress made where 60% of the feedstock for the East now comes from here. So there's some progress, but the problem is not that. The problem is Confederation is broken. and it's not, it's, I don't know if it's broken, but it basically, the systems were at the, you know, the limits of it with where we're at.
Yeah. Well, the way it's described to me is it's not broken. It's more like it's working the way it's designed.
Yeah.
But I want to back up a little bit. So someone from Quebec told me a while ago that as far as equalization goes, to the extent that Quebecers understand it and know what's going on, they actually are opposed to it as well. Because you said $13 billion a year, that's going to cause a lot of corruption. And that's actually, it's working against Quebec, because now it's like, well, keep your 13 billion every year, and then they're going to want to stay in Confederation, and then it's like lining the government pockets, and it's like, wait a minute, Quebecers have a unique heritage and culture and values and dreams for the future, just like Albertans. Yeah. And that money, that equalization money, is used to piss off Alberta and hold us down, but it's also used to hold down Quebec as well, because they're proud people out there. They could be independent as well, I believe.
Absolutely. But and this is where I'm going to differ from a lot of people. And my end position is, because, you know, that we have a lot of soft separatists floating around, right? People are like, well, if they fix representation and they fix equalization, then, you know, we might be in a better place.
Yeah.
But what the problem is that people, we've hung on to equalization and representation as what I would call it's the wrong culprit, okay? And because what we're all feeling here is really fiscal mismanagement from Ottawa, right? When you have in fiscal year 2024, 2025, they're sending $13.4 billion overseas for gender equality and climate change, while in the same breath they're running a $36.3 billion deficit. So we've put it all on the credit card, and then we have the audacity to say, oh, sorry, we don't have enough money for the veterans. Excuse my language, but excuse my French, but are you fucking kidding me? Right? So there is gross injustices that are happening because the system isn't built to keep politicians in check. They can expand as much as they want. So now let me get to equalization. This is where it's going to make sense. So what a lot of people don't get about how equalization comes about is it comes from the general revenue of government. What's coming out of your paycheck and my paycheck every time, the remittance, they send it directly to government, right? And so this year, the total equalization amount is $29 billion, right? That's the total that they're taking from the tax revenue and that they're spreading between provinces based on their formula, okay? So now let's say we abolish equalization, okay? We abolish it. What do you think happens to that $29 billion line item? Do you think they're giving us a tax break? No, there's not $29 billion that's coming here. You abolish equalization, they're going to send it to more freaking gender-just rice crops in Vietnam.
Yeah. And
so,
Ukraine to be laundered. And Ukraine to be laundered.
Exactly, right? So basically there is fiscal mismanagement is what it is. That's what we're all seeing. We can see that the system is wrong. They're basically able to spend like drunken sailors, right, on the credit card, and we're here working hard. Albertans work super hard. Like, people are like, oh, you make higher salaries. Yeah, the guys are stuck 21 days on freaking rigs in the middle of nowhere. Sorry about your channel.
I can believe stuff.
Just working overtime every single day, and they get taxed to the max, and that money gets used to be spent on priorities that we would never spend in Alberta. If you look at elections map federally over time, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Northeast BC, it's always blue, it's always conservative. We would never vote for these policies, and this is where the representation thing comes in, where it's the biggest problem. People are like, well, if we fix representation so we get proportional representation, it's going to fix it. I won't go through all of it, but to get proportional representation, we'd have to get about 440 seats, okay? Because you'd want the smallest unit to be a seat in PEI, okay? We get proportional representation, right? Now you feel equal. Here's the problem. It's still 19 million people that are living in the Laurentian area between Quebec and Ontario, and they're still going to vote for stuff that we don't want. More seats means more seats for them too, right? So fixing it's not going to fix it. We are different cultures. We have different values. We have more of I don't want to conjure up the American, but we are more open to risk-taking and taking responsibility for ourselves in Alberta. That's the mentality here. There are people that say, Ralph Klein said it, right? I don't know. I can't remember which prime minister.
Get a job, you lazy bastards.
Right? But you remember?
That's what Ralph Klein said.
Ralph Klein said, I think it was Harper that came. No, not Harper. Mulroney. One of the prime ministers came to him and was like, "Hey, what do you want me to do?" And Ralph Klein said, "Stay out of my face."
Yeah.
To the government, he said, "We want government out of our face. Just let us do what we do, and we will flourish."
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I think that Canada's too big to be effectively governed. Basically, what you're describing there. There's too many different groups of people with different values and ideas and hopes for the future. And look, that's a good thing. We can all have different opinions and dreams for the future, aspirations. But right now, we're being pulled in too many directions. Canada's too big, and we're not united. And Quebec and Alberta are just the biggest examples. But you think about it. Really, there should be about 5 or 6 separate little countries here, just based off of what, and then also, like, you look at the map, like, we're so spread out, and then that one little chunk down by Toronto and Montreal, that rules the whole country, really? Like, does that make sense? Only to them does that make sense.
Here's my thing, is it doesn't have to be adversarial. Everybody, and this is the thing that you're seeing from the forever Canadians, is they're sort of seeing this as this adversarial thing. But imagine you were in a relationship with somebody, right? And you're like, the one person's the party animal. They want to go on trips all the time, and the other person is more like, I want to squirrel money away, and I'm happy with just staying in on the weekends and cooking. And so you have two very different people with different approaches to life, right? And so if these people try to be in a relationship, it's not going to last forever. At some point, they are too far apart in their values and their aspirations to make it work as a couple. Does that mean that they need to have an explosive separation? No, they could remain friends, and they could, and say, hey, look, it's clear that you want to go and travel and spend your money frivolously and do whatever, whereas I want to stay here and work on the business I'm building. And we're just different. We don't have to hate each other. We don't have to make this an adversarial thing, right? We can work hand in hand when you're here, as neighbors, but it doesn't have to be this. There's a fight going on right now, right? Like, especially if you're online, which is sort of amplifies it, is how Canadians see it in this sort of this traitor trope or whatever. So,
well, what do you think of all this? What do you think of all this?
It's irreconcilable differences. That's it.
Yeah, I want to
and another saying from Ralph Klein was, shoot, shovel, and shut up. He did say that.
I love Ralph Klein. Get jobs, you lazy bastards.
Get a job, you lazy bastards. Yeah. But no, I couldn't agree more with what you were saying there. And I agree. But what we could do, I'm looking forward to the day that we actually send foreign aid to parts of Canada.
Well, we kind of do right now, but I know what you mean.
But when we send it, when we send it as Albertans, we'll be able to attach some strings to it. Yeah. So what I'm referring to is, we'll show you how to develop your resources. We'll show you how to build an infrastructure that's business friendly. We'll show you how to create an environment that's business friendly. Yeah. And unless you do these things, you ain't getting more welfare next year, right? So it's no more welfare. It's strings attached, foreign aid, and we'll teach you how to be prosperous.
We can imagine stuff like that, but I think, like, here's the thing. Quebec has 8% of the natural gas reserves that Alberta does. Now we have a hell of a lot more, but they have a hell of a lot. And they have a lot of other things going that we don't have, like resources and they have a highly educated workforce. And look, Quebec on its own, Ontario on its own, they could do so much. And I think once Alberta leaves, then these other places are going to wake up and they're going to have to start doing things on their own. And it's just going to be like a slap in the face, wake up and go to work.
We'll have Quebecers coming to Alberta, learning how to harvest their natural gas because they have huge amounts of natural gas that they could be exporting to Europe. But they're not taking advantage of it. You want to replace the $13 billion you're getting in equalization, mostly from Alberta, then we'll teach you how to exploit your natural gas resources. You can export it off your coast. It cuts the travel time to Europe by like 2 or 3 days. So it's right there for the taking, and the world needs it.
So they know, like, as somebody, they actually used to exploit their natural gas resources. There was a company, Junex was the service rig company in Quebec. It was happening, and then they just shut down natural gas extraction, right? And
Marty up north talks about it on his podcast. He actually said they drilled a bunch of test wells, and they were about to bring them online, and they were proven now they work. And the government bought the wells from the company, and then shut them all down.
Yeah.
And like that's what happened. Okay, Quebec, if you want to do that, fine. You can have your socialism and go broke with nothing to pay for it. But I think at the end of the day, people are going to wake up, and they're going to have to take care of themselves. And that's why, like you said, responsibility, that's the Albertan culture.
My dream for an Alberta constitution has rights, but also has responsibilities.
Yeah.
I want competent citizens.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to have educated discussions when people don't get sort of the basics, right? I feel like a lot of the education should have some mandatory courses that are, have to do with economics and like everybody should know that, hey, what happens when you put stuff on the credit card? What does that do to your money, right? Like, because that's what they're doing out east. And now that the money is, inflation, where the money is devaluing. And because of that, and because we get about 80% of our produce and whatever from outside the country, and our money is devalued on markets, then we pay for it at the grocery stores because they're spending in the east, right? So everything that comes from outside the country, we don't produce everything that we consume. Now increases in price. So there is no such thing as a free ride, right? There's no free programs, free this. Somebody's always paying for it.
Somebody's always paying for it.
And if you don't get that and you vote on vibes and feels, you end up where we are now.
Well, when Alberta leaves, bye-bye credit card for Canada. They're not going to be able to spend that irresponsibly anymore because that money just won't be there.
Well, and they're going to have to figure out how to take care of themselves. And look, this is the thing. Canada's too big to be effectively governed. There's too many people pulling different directions. There's one group that always gets the majority just because of their numbers. And they have values and a culture that's unique of their own, and they just want to project that onto us. We're different than them. They don't think so. But who cares? We're going to self-determine, assert ourselves.
Exactly. And what drives me crazy, John, is that, you fail at what your job is in government, and you're a liberal.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You break the law, you have conflicts of interest, and you get a promotion and a raise for your incompetence. It's like...
I like a lifetime pension.
Like in Alberta, that would never happen. You would get fired. You would get fired and never rehired because of such poor performance. But here they are rewarding incompetent politicians. Which is, to me, it's maddening. And then to be sending money away to Ukraine and you're having to start a GoFundMe to build refurbish the Prime Minister's residence. I mean, wait a minute, you're sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine, billions in total. And you're starting a GoFundMe for your own residents? And the corruption, just right in front of our face. So I'm paying my taxes so that you can give my tax money to somebody, and then Brookfield. And then Brookfield, but it's right in front of us.
See, the corruption just that's probably the top third biggest issue for me. Like, these guys, they're like Justin Trudeau should be in jail for the rest of his life. Actually, I would say bring back public hanging when it gets to a certain point. Honestly, and I mean that. But like Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, how many scandals? How many times they break the laws?
It was like 86 or something like that. That was a huge number. And he remained in power. And now they're shutting down committees that are looking into corruption or conflict of interest between...
And like CSIS says, the Chinese are rigging our elections, right? And like, how many more of these things do we just want to put up with? Canadians, you vote for a Forever Canada. That's what you're voting to support. Here in Alberta, we want to get rid of the corruption. We're going to have checks and balances and like consequences for politicians. Maybe I take it back about the public hangings. But lifetime in jail for colluding with a foreign government? The way that
Well, how can you have secret security deals with a communist country? I mean, and you can't tell the Canadian people about that? Like, why? Why? Because you would be charged with treason?
And if Pierre Poilievre, if he had any guts, he would have said, okay, I'm going to join this committee and sign the non-disclosure agreement and get all the information, knowing full well that it's illegal for me to tell it. And then he would have immediately told us and said, look, guys, they want to put me in jail for telling you the truth. and he would have won the prime ministership. He wouldn't have spent a day in jail. If they tried to arrest him, people would have rioted. And it's like, so what side is Pierre Poilievre on? Because at this point, I'm thinking, I want to know who are these Chinese infiltrators?
Well, the prime minister appoints the commissioner of the RCMP.
Yeah.
How can he be impartial? He can't.
Oh, he can't be.
He can't.
Yeah, he can't.
He can't even arrest arrest the prime minister, arrest his caucus, arrest the senior ministers when they break the law, because he'll get fired.
Yeah.
And he just wants to hold on to his job.
And so for me, independence is about like asserting ourselves, creating a system of government with checks and balances, accountability. They can't, like, if they're corrupt,
They break the law.
if they break the law, politicians break the law, they're held to an even higher standard.
Agreed.
Even
They
higher
get double the
standard.
jail time that a normal average citizen would get. They would get double, and then you wouldn't find these corrupt people running for office.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should do in an independent Alberta.
Well, and term limits.
If you're holding a government position and you break the law, it's double the normal sentencing recommendation.
Yeah.
Because you're in a position of public trust.
Yeah.
And accountability has to be the bedrock of our new republic. And that's what I'm pushing for as a republic, because that puts the power in the people's hands as opposed to in the government's hands.
Now here's the thing. I feel like if we're going to win independence, we're speaking to the conservatives. We're not speaking, there's very few NDP leftists who are going to vote for this. So I feel like many of the conservatives would agree with what we're saying. Accountability, put these corrupt politicians in jail, right? All these things that we're mentioning, but they're not quite willing to take the next little step to say, okay, fine, we'll throw the old system off and create our new system. So how do we reach to them? Like, how do we get them to take that step? Because it seems obvious, but they're not doing it. Or I don't know if they're doing it yet.
I think that once we do have their vote, and it is positive, and I'm shooting for 52%, because if Newfoundland could come in,
Oh man, I know, but that's not enough, man.
Well, it's according to Carney, but according to the Supreme Court, it is.
It is legally enough, but morally enough.
Well, I think that 52% is enough, because what's going to happen shortly thereafter is you're going to have those people that are NDP Liberal supporters that will leave, and they're welcome to. They can do what they like.
Yeah.
But we're also going to have a lineup at our border of conservatives coming here. And I think then, afterwards, after the fact, we'll have such a large conservative caucus or conservative base in Alberta that you could then make those laws that will hold the government accountable.
Well, I don't know. For me, independence is about throwing off the federal, provincial, municipal, all levels of government. No more king, none of this stuff. And we are going to completely reinvent our system. We're going to take control of our future. We're going to come together and have a constitutional conference where we decide. We're going to argue a lot. It's going to be a big fight. We're going to argue about what laws need to be in there and how we want to set this up. And yes, it'll take a while, and we'll have an interim constitution. We'll probably have to pass a continuing act. It's like everything continues for 6 months or a year, and we're going to put a date on it. Maybe do it 2 or 3 times. 5 years in, it might take that to fully redo this, but it's like a whole new system of government. Republic of Alberta.
May the best idea win.
Yeah.
And have a true representation.
Yeah.
Have true accountability.
Yeah.
Have laws that are just, that are common sense.
Yeah.
Just please give us some common sense, will you?
Yeah.
We're not asking for the world.
Like, how about if you commit a violent crime, you get 25 years to life.
Agreed.
And no bail, you know, or how about you do 3 offenses, you get 25 to life.
A crime against children, castration.
Yeah.
That's what I would go for.
Hands down.
Hands down, castration.
Give them the medication that they're currently giving to kids right now.
Already proven that they do not cease to reoffend.
Yeah.
They will 100% reoffend. They can't help themselves.
So Albertans are full of good ideas.
One thing I gotta get,
But
Daniel.
I'll let you go here. We're full of good ideas, but we just need to come together and do it. Hey, thanks so much, sir.
Great talking to you, John. Great seeing you again.
Talking to you again.
And your big blue, beautiful flag.
Beautiful flag. I love it. All right, I'm going to wander around here a bit more and talk. Okay. Oh, hey.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
Would you be willing to sign this
Well,
book for
yeah.
us, please? I'm trying to get as many signatures as possible to keep it for the people who've been the biggest.
Have a minute. You
Okay.
can come here after.
Okay. Yeah, do Do you have a pen? Do you have a pen?
Yeah, I got a pen right there.
Can I switch your camera?
Sure.
Can you hold the camera and point it at me like that? So I bought this. This is Derek Smith's book.
Okay, yeah.
And I have a copy of this and I read it. You can buy this on Amazon. I get paid nothing for this, but I want to promote it, and he's donating money and he's doing so much good work. So go support Derek Smith, Unacceptable Fringe on YouTube. And I'm gonna write.
That man.
I'm gonna write. I always write here.
You must have seen him with his flag going around and canvassing. He is. He doesn't want to, but I want him to have his statue. I want him to represent in an independent Alberta. I want. You know how there was a. I'm envisioning him because like there's a video of him where the rain is horizontal coming at him. He's in the element.
I wrote in there, God bless you, and God bless Alberta. John from Alberta.
Well,
Absolutely.
like I say, my great-grandfather came here in the 1890s.
Yeah.
He was a homesteader from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly what year he showed up.
Yeah.
But it was before 1897.
Yeah.
Because
my mom was born in the States.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Albertans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Albertans, we have roots in the States.
he came up here from Minnesota. Like I say, he brought his wife, he got married in Minnesota, brought his wife up here and started a family.
Yeah.
I have a picture I found from historical archives, like 1901.
Yeah.
He had 6 kids at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
You know, I'll tell my mom's story. So my mom was born right on the border, right, in Canada. She was born on the north side. She lived on the north side in Canada, technically in Canada. There was no border back then. People just like crossed back and forth. They didn't really know where they were. And the nearest hospital happened to be in the States.
Yeah.
And so there's like actually, I think there's several thousand people who were born like my mom in that one area. And they weren't sure if they were Canadians or Americans. So my funny story, my mom lived in Alberta her whole life, and then she moved to Ontario for the last few years to spend time with my sister. And then they didn't want to give her a driver's license because they weren't sure if she was Canadian or American.
well,
But we're proud of our heritage.
Yeah.
You know, like this is it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather would be rolling over in his grave if he saw the state of this country. He would never have voted to join Alberta.
Yeah.
Not with the way it is now. It's horrible.
Okay, well, look, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, you take care and
I
have a
pulled in
great...
many directions here, so thank you so much.
You take care. It was
God
great
bless
meeting
ya.
you.
God
Thank you.
bless ya.
God bless you
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you so
Love
much.
ya.
Yeah. All right. So, mi amor, ¿dónde está la persona que me quiere hablar? Su nombre, Eva. Lo siento, ¿estás bien? Okay, guys, so this is a good turnout here. Seems like quite a few other people here. Pretty much every podcaster showed up. And so I'm not going around to them because you can go watch their shows. I'm trying to find other people to talk to. But I'll talk to anybody. Hey, how's it going?
Good, dude.
Good. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Streaming?
Yeah, I'm both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, have fun.
Okay.
Enjoy the breakfast.
Okay, hey, thank you. All right, so, let's go inside.
Had to bail this week.
I just want to shake your hand.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for everything you do,
Thank
John.
you so much. Appreciate
John,
it.
right? Aaron.
Aaron, nice
Alberta
to meet you.
Tees.
Alberta Tees?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I love it.
So-
I need to buy a shirt from you guys.
Sure, yeah. I know a guy, so
Thank
we can
you
hook
so
you up.
much.
Yeah, he knows the guy, yes.
You know a guy who makes a shirt. Well, I'll leave a link below to your website. Give us a quick little plug.
Okay. Oh, I'm not the on-camera guy.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm behind-the-scenes guy. That's why I make shirts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I was gonna wait till next weekend to come and see you at Paul's Pizza.
Yeah.
And then I was just reading this morning that you were going to be here, and damn, I need to shake that man's hand.
Well, thank you so much.
You're a braver man than I am, walking into a Forever Canada event. Woo.
It's like my cojones felt like basketballs doing that. You know, I'll tell you, my hand was shaking like this, and you can't see it on the camera.
Yeah.
Because this thing stabilizes. I was actually a little bit nervous, but then I realized they're all just a bunch of cranky old people.
Exactly. They're a bunch of cranky old baby boomers.
I'm like, okay, I'm fine here. I'm safe.
Yeah.
And that guy followed me around. He's like my guard. Keep them in control, I guess.
Oh, that was that one. Yeah, the one guy was following around quite a bit.
He's actually the lawyer for Forever Canada.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He said to me later on the live stream, because I live stream and record.
Okay.
And then I shut this one off, and then he stayed on the live stream, didn't realize it. He told me he's the lawyer, and then I'm like, well, why can't you tell us what the finances are and what, all the shenanigans? And he's like, whoa, don't worry, we're gonna tell it out. But I don't know. I think he revealed a little bit much on my live stream.
I think it's garbage.
Yeah.
I really do. But someone explained it to me that he's skirting the law.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing. He's skirting it.
Yeah.
And he will cross the line eventually, and then he's in trouble.
Well,
I don't think he's going to be in trouble because he's taking a look at Elections Alberta, what they're all about. Like, they're NDP, they're this, they don't want this separation.
No. But it kind of makes sense, like their argument in the sense, it's like, okay, you're just saying we should stay in Canada. That's a common sense enough thing that this isn't a political thing, but like, it's obviously a lie. They're fundraising, they're saying to vote a certain way on a referendum question, and these guys have probably raised a lot of money outside of Alberta, and they're not tracking it, and it's breaking all the rules.
Well,
but that's why we need independence even more, because this is a corrupt system, and
we need to get away from the corrupt system by all means. Like I actually vote for Bruce Party's system.
Do ya?
Yep, I love that idea. Let's do a total reset.
So the government has no power except a few small things that we give.
Except a few small things, basically to say, I can't beat you up, like can't cause harm.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's like, the government has no power except when there's a threat of violence, maybe. Then the government can come in and break it up, with violence, because that's what always has behind it. Government always has violence.
Yeah, like whenever exactly, right? Like we still, Keith Wilson come up.
Yeah, Keith Wilson's talking in the background here. We should be listening to him. I'm gonna end this. It'll be part 1, and then I'll do part 2 after they're done talking. So, thank you everybody for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2. Cheers.